Hey everybody, it's Theresa. I'm working in my kitchen today. I wanted to share something with you that I've gotten a lot of questions about lately. One of the things that I teach many of my clients to do is to make probiotic vegetables that have medicinal grade probiotics that reduce histamines. And it starts with these probiotic jars. And I have found with people with mast cell activation, Lyme disease, autoimmune disease, and histamine problems in general, that they can get off of many of their antihistamines and have much less severe mast cell activation simply by making and eating these vegetables. If you don't have any of that stuff and you're just looking to improve your health overall, this is probably the best food that you can eat and create for your family. And so I wanted to show you what I was working on here. These probiotic jars you buy at probioticjar.com. And it's the only jars that I recommend because they keep all of the oxygen out, which creates a superior anaerobic ferment, which gets to stage 4 of the fermentation process, which neutralizes histamines. So it's safe for people with Lyme disease, mast cell activation, and other autoimmune diseases. Not only safe, but excellent for us to eat these foods. This has made a huge difference in my health. I don't make any money off of this, but I do encourage most of my clients to make these because it's just so fabulous for your health. So you go to probioticjar.com and you buy the jar. So that's starters. And then you decide if you want to make green beans, sauerkraut, pickles, what's your favorite thing? So I'm working on sauerkraut, as you can see here today. And I start by simply washing these jars. I don't sterilize them. You don't need to sterilize them. I just wash them with soap and water and dry them. Then I wash my hands good, cleaning up under the fingernails. But no sterilization needs to be done. It's impossible to create food poisoning in these jars. Absolutely impossible. You can create botulism or food poisoning during the canning process, but because of the nature of microbes, they always compete with each other. These good probiotics, these good bacteria that we are going to multiply in these vegetables will always compete with and win over the bad bacteria. Push them out. It's different in canning because with canning you boil off, you kill all the good bacteria. And so if any bad get in there, they can proliferate. And you can kill a whole village with one jar of green beans. But impossible, will not happen with these jars, with the probiotic jar, okay? So that's for starters. People get really nervous about this, thinking they might poison themselves or their family. Won't happen. Absolutely won't happen. Impossible. Studies have shown that it's impossible for these jars to create botulism or food poisoning. In fact, if you get food poisoning, you want to eat these veggies. You want to drink this juice because it completely turns it around. The good bacteria go in and neutralize that bad bacteria and you're cured from food poisoning. Okay? So everybody wants to do this. So I'm doing the sauerkraut. I have here some 3-liter jars and most of my clients have the 1-liter. So 1 head of cabbage will pretty much fill that 3-liter jar. What you're going to want to do is, like I said, after you wash and dry the jars, wash your hands, you just chop up the cabbage. You don't really need to do anything fancy. You basically just want to chop them into fairly equal sized pieces. You don't want like half of the pieces large and then half of the pieces small. You want them mostly even so they ferment easily, but it doesn't have to be perfect. If you try to get it perfect, you'll set yourself nuts. So so I'm going to just keep chopping here. And I hope you can see what I'm doing. And then I'm just going to take it and put it down in my jar. Take these pieces, put it in my jar. And there's multiple ways you can do this. The official recipe on the Probiotic Jar site for the sauerkraut says that, you have to put the salt on the sauerkraut and make your own brine, and you have it make its own brine, and it takes 3 months. Well, guess what? I just do it my way, and it still works. I'm a little bit of a rebel that way. And I only ferment mine for 7 to 10 days, and I still get excellent results, because I have struggled with histamines for years. Lots and lots of itching, sneezing, sinus, post-sinus drip from histamines. And eating these every day, whether it's the fermented cabbage like I'm doing now, or green beans is another one of my favorites, and that's so easy, no chopping needed. Or pickles, which I'm going to have this summer because I'm growing the little baby picklers. Very excited about that. I have no itching. I don't have the histamine issues. I don't have nearly the sneezing or the sinus congestion or any type of mast cell activation if I eat these every day. And like I said, for those of you who have been indoctrinated, you can't eat any ferments if you have mast cell activation or Lyme disease or inflamed gut. Most of you can handle these. All the people I work with can handle these. You start low, but you can work your way up and you can have some fabulous results. So, can you see the shoulder of this jar? It comes to about right here. This is where you want to fill your jar to. And like I say, my hands are washed. My jar was washed. And I'm just going to pack that in as tightly as I can. Just keep putting those pieces of cabbage in there. And, for those of you who are real foodies and you want that extra flavor, you can sprinkle caraway seeds in there. I think some people use different seasonings in their sauerkraut. Use your favorite recipe. But I just have it plain. Okay, so you can see here that I've gotten the sauerkraut packed to the shoulder. At this point, we want to make the brine, the salt brine. And that is just as easy as can be. So, let's see. Can you see my Berkey? I'll turn the camera around. So here's my Berkey right here. And I have a 4-cup glass container that I'm going to set right here. And I'm going to go to my refrigerator magnet, which tells me what percentage salt brine I need. Oh, don't you love the artwork from my grandchildren? Love it. So for 1 quart, for 2% brine, which is what I'm doing, it's 19 grams. So I am going to turn my scale on, and let's see if I can. I'm not the best with the camera here. Maybe we can't see. Let's just turn that back around. Okay, there's my scale. Any kitchen scale will do. I use that Ozeri scale. And I'm going to turn it on. And here's the brine bowl that comes with your probiotic jar when you buy it. You'll put that on your scale, and then you'll zero that back out. Some of you already know how to do this. It's very easy. And then you just take some Himalayan pink salt. And it really does need to be Himalayan pink salt. I bought this one online. It's a pure Himalayan salt. Looks like it came from Green Planet Organics. But, any good quality pink Himalayan salt will do. And the Probiotic Jar site sells a good, affordable pink salt. So for my 1 quart of water to make brine, I'm going to measure 19 grams. Oh, there we go. 19 grams of salt. And I'm going to get my water going in my Berkey. Grab my salt. Throw it in there. Get that up to the 4-cup line. There we go. I'm not super scientific with all this. I just make 4 cups at a time and then fill my jar as much as is needed. I use bamboo to stir when I'm fermenting. I don't use metal. When I did my certification course, you know, she's a perfectionist, and she was like, don't use metal. You'll make your ferments taste like metal. I have cheated and used metal before, and I didn't notice any difference. But to follow the instructor's methods, I'm going to use bamboo. And it just takes a minute to stir up that pink Himalayan salt and dissolve it. And then you're going to take your brine and you're just going to pour it over your sauerkraut, your chopped cabbage, that is. We're going to make it into sauerkraut. And I already know that's not going to be enough. I'm going to have to make another 2 to 4 cups. So I'll just make another 4 cups because I'm going to make 2 jars today, actually. And let's weigh out another 19 grams. After we zero it out, we're going to get another 19 grams. And for those of you who don't have a scale, I believe it's approximately 1 teaspoon per 5 grams. But if you have a scale, use it. It just makes the process more exact. And I'm just going to put my salt in the water. Get it up to the 4-cup line, just like we did before. Stir it up. Easy peasy. The salt is another thing that just absolutely prevents any type of food poisoning or botulism. One mistake that my clients will commonly make, and I have made before too, is once the ferment is done, they freak out and they see little floaties and gross things floating in the water, and they think it's mold, and they throw it all out. And you don't know how many people I have told, oh, you made a mistake, you threw it out. Don't throw it out. You're supposed to see little floaties and gross things. That is what the ferment is. It's bacteria. Okay. So now that the sauerkraut is, or the cabbage is mostly covered with the salt brine, you're going to take your brine bowl and you're going to put it on the top. And that's going to keep that the cabbage down under the salt brine. Otherwise, it floats to the top. And here is the lid that comes with the jar. And you're just going to, let me turn this around. You're just going to take this gasket and you're going to firmly seat it into the groove of that lid. I mean, that was pretty easy. That didn't take long. And then the jar, the wires back here, you just snap that on, okay, and snap it shut. Really, that's it. See how easy that was? Your little airlock that comes with your jar, you're going to fill with water to the line. And now you might not be able to see the line on the video, but it's about right here. So I'm going to take that over to my Berkey, and I'm going to fill that up. Sorry, I know you couldn't really see that. It's a little high, so doesn't have to be exact. About right there is fine. And then I'm going to put this into the grommet just slightly. You don't jam it down in there. You don't want that too deep. You want it in there just hard enough that it stands up. Voila, it's done. See how easy that was? So what I'll do now is I'll bring my beautiful sauerkraut to be over to my not cleared off countertop, and what I'll do is I'll get a towel out of my drawer here, and a chip clip out of my cabinet, and wrap it around my jar. Sorry for the photography. Let me turn that around. And clip that on. So, there's my finished product. It's going to sit in the dark now on my counter for 7 to 10 days. And in the summer, when it's warmer like this, it really only takes 6 or 7 days. In the winter, maybe 10 days. But I think it's 68 to 72 degrees is the perfect temperature for fermenting these medicinal grade probiotic veggies. You will save yourself so much money not buying probiotics that you don't even know if they are alive or dead when you get them. You will get medicinal grade probiotics with lactobacillus that your body needs to detoxify, to fight infection, to rebalance your gut microbiome, to produce neurotransmitters in your gut, to help produce and metabolize hormones. The list is so long of all of the benefits that come from having lactobacillus, good lactobacillus in your gut. When you buy professional grade, pharmaceutical grade probiotics, you might get 20 to 25 strains of beneficial bacteria. Like I say, are they all alive when you get them? You hope so. You don't really know. You're taking pills and capsules. When you make your own like this, you make anywhere, so those have, what did I say, 20 to 25 strains. When you make it yourself, you'll get 100 to 600 strains. That's pretty cool. And you're getting prebiotics with it. When you eat the cabbage, when you eat the green beans, when you eat the pickles, when you eat the cauliflower, the broccoli, whatever it is, the kohlrabi, whatever it is you choose to make, you're getting that good prebiotic to help feed your new probiotics. When your 7 to 10 days is up, you are going to come to your jar and take your little chip clip off. You're going to open it up, and you're just going to reach in there with your bamboo tongs, and you're going to taste a piece of it. And if it tastes sour, it's done. If it still tastes like plain cabbage, it needs a couple more days. You will not get food poisoning. I repeat, you will not get sick from these, ever. So, let's see. Do I have any of my finished products here? Okay, bear with me. I'm going to run down to my garage, and I'm going to get the jar that's finished, just so you can see how murky it looks. I don't want you to freak out and think that you have created food poisoning when you haven't. So, check this out. That's how it looks. See that? It looks murky and gross and floaties, but those veggies are so, so good for your health. And, you know, if that little tiny bit of non-pathogenic yeast at the top bothers you, all you have to do is rinse it off before you put it in your mouth. I literally have people with severe mast cell activation and severe histamine problems eating these veggies and getting off all their mast cell medications. So I'm very proud of that fact, and making progress when they hadn't been able to make progress before. And people who have severe edema issues in their face, you know, come on brain, I know what that is, but they get a lot of face swelling, and they just go back to normal. They don't get that angioedema. There it is. The angioedema gets so much better, and they get off their 5 antihistamines that they were on simply by eating a probiotic vegetable that, because it is fermented anaerobically in these jars only, I emphasize, not because I'm making any money, but because they work. They're the only ones I have found that work. Probioticjar.com. And they are able, because no oxygen gets into the ferment, it creates lactic acid in the ferment instead of acetic acid that you would find in a mason jar type, the store-bought kind of ferment, or kombucha, or kefir, or any ferment that is not made in the probiotic jar. And so those acetic acid type ferments can only get to stage 2. And in that stage, guess what? You get a lot of histamines. So you can't eat them. But in these jars, you get to stage 4 because no oxygen gets in. It gets to stage 4. And in that stage, they neutralize histamines. Yes, they do. It's a beautiful thing. And you get medicinal grade probiotics. It's one of my favorite tools. And the reason I believe in it so much is because I myself had itching issues every day because I've had Lyme disease for a long time. And when you have Lyme disease for a long time, you get lots of leaky gut, and you have many autoimmune diseases. You have many problems. And I went to this functional fermenting class, and she was teaching all of this that I'm teaching you. I was highly skeptical. She was passing around samples of her ferments, and I'm like, I'm not eating those. No way am I touching those. I'll be itching like a devil by the end of this class. And I debated it. Everybody else was tasting them, and this little voice just said to me, Theresa, just taste it. The worst thing that can happen is you might need to take Benadryl when you get home tonight because you're itching so terribly. And I mean, I was already itching because I itched every day. I had all kinds of itching, sneezing, a lot of histamine issues. I started eating those samples, and by noon, my itching was improved. And that never happened to me, never. I was very excited. By 5 o'clock when I left that seminar, my itching was gone. I was in shock. I couldn't believe it. And my itching stayed away for 3 days. And I like, oh my goodness, that lady was right. These vegetables neutralize histamines naturally. And I went and bought like $200 worth of jars. And I bought the scale, and I've been fermenting ever since. So I have this beautiful garden this summer that I'll step out here and show you from my patio. Let's see. There she is out there. I got a bunch of beans out there, and over there I've got my little pickling cucumbers growing. I'm very excited. This is the time of year, if you're a gardener, to get those jars. And as soon as you pick your green beans, As soon as you pick your peppers, your kohlrabi, your pickles, those are some of my favorites. Get them in those jars right away and ferment them so that all winter long you will have gut healing probiotics that reduce histamines, stop your itching problems, help with your sneezing and sinus problems. I've had so much success with this in my practice, and save a boatload of money from buying probiotics and prebiotics. And it's just a delicious way to improve your digestion, digest your food better, solve constipation issues, help your body to create more natural serotonin so that you're not as depressed, and create neurotransmitters for your brain, help your body to detoxify, and oh, so many benefits. So I'm going to get back to work here and make another jar. So let's see. I see a few questions here. Oh, hi Karen Kessler. Hi Kimberly. Do you refrigerate them after they're done? Yes, thank you for asking that. As soon as they're done, after the 7 to 10 days, when you taste it and you're like, yep, that's sour, then you put it in the fridge immediately. Don't leave it on the counter because they'll get too sour. And you'll want to leave your little airlock on it. So you need a pretty tall shelf if you use the 3-liter jars like I do. Because if you don't leave it in that jar, if you transfer it to another jar, that acid will go back to acetic acid and you'll get histamines again. You'll still have good probiotics, but you'll get histamines again. If you want to have that beautiful histamine reduction power, you've got to keep it in these jars with this airlock on it to keep the oxygen out. Will you post this on your website? Yes. Yeah, the probiotic jar difference is amazing. Hey, Joyce. Okay, good to see all of you guys here. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll be doing more videos. My next one, I'll be making a natural essential oil bug spray. Hopefully tomorrow I'll post that one, and I'll be doing one on coffee enemas. So good for your liver. Okay, see you guys later.